On this Shabbat, it is my pleasure to welcome our Alvin and Violet Harris Scholar-in-Residence Scholar, cantorial soloist Raymond Zachary. Raymond is a classically trained countertenor currently located in Los Angeles. They attended the American Jewish University as a Jewish Studies major and have served as a cantorial soloist for several years, having the opportunity to sing with some of the most prestigious names in cantorial music. Raymond has sung on more than 35 bimot around the globe and has also done extensive concert work within the Jewish community. Raymond currently serves on the board of the Guild of Temple Musicians and is the new associate clergy at Congregation B'nai Tzedek. Mazel Tov. Outside of synagogue life, Raymond is an award-winning musical theater actor and has performed in numerous symphonic and theatrical productions, including an annual residency at Disneyland with the klezmer band Mostly Kosher. Raymond created today's program, Rainbow Shabbat, which has been implemented in synagogues all across the country and soon will go international. This program encourages LGBTQIA+ shulgoers to not only feel comfortable as a Jew in the pew, but also serves as an outreach program to say that their community encourages them to participate and to lead on committees, on boards, and even on the bima. It also provides synagogues with tools and resources to create safe and accepting spaces for congregants who identify within the LGBTQIA+ community. With programs ranging from Tot Shabbat, religious school, teen programs, and adult education, Rainbow Shabbat strives to reach every age of Jew. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome Raymond Zachary to the bima.
Good Shabbos, everyone. So I don't want to shock you, but based on my bio, you might be able to tell I'm gay. Rabbi, I'm so sorry you had to find out like this. But to some people, those words may be shocking. I know they definitely were for me. At first, those words started out as a thought, and then they grew into a whisper until I could eventually verbalize them more comfortably. And now I yell them from the rooftops. I am gay. I am queer. I am Raymond, and I am proud. That's what pride is. Pride is the ability to express, to shout, to identify yourself however you want, and to be loved for it. But I didn't start out shouting it from the rooftops. And so, as all homosexuals are contractually obligated to do, I'll start with a musical theater reference. Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. What can I say? I put the Jew in Julie Andrews. My story begins just like everybody else's. I was born. And ever since I can remember, everyone has always told me, I can't wait to dance at your wedding. And every time I would hear this, I would get a lump in my throat. Because when I closed my eyes to picture my wedding, I was never the one lifting the veil, but instead it was my veil being lifted. And I was never the one breaking the glass, but instead I was nervously putting on lip gloss while the chussan broke the glass so I could turn and kiss him in the next moment. At home, of course, my mother knew from a very early age that I was gay. I practically, fell out of my mother and into her high heels. But not everyone could be so accepting, especially when it came to the kids at school. Whenever we had choice time, I was always playing with the dolls by myself in the corner, while the other kids were off playing with monster trucks. And when it came time for birthdays or Hanukkah, I could never put the princess dresses that I wanted on my wish list. I was, however, blessed to have an aunt with the mind of an evil genius. You see, my Aunt Leah came up with the system that we called the secret present, in which she would buy something from the dollar store, a toy that boys were supposed to like, baseball cards or monster trucks. And if I opened it and acted surprised and like I enjoyed it in front of everybody at the party, I would have the secret gift waiting for me at home. Ironically, it was always waiting for me in the closet. But that closet became such a safe place because I knew as soon as I opened it, there would be waiting every color of nail polish I could want, the makeup kits that I loved, and the dress-up dresses and shoes that would let my imagination run wild. At that point, I was literally living in the closet. The few friends that I had never came over to play, but on the rare occasion that someone did, everything got shoved into that closet and out of sight because of fear. The question then was posed, where did I find my pride? How did I grow out of being that scared little child and into the person I am today? You see, my pride came to me by way of a coping mechanism. I had this one pair of boots growing up, my favorite pair of cowboy boots, with black leather embroidery running all the way up the calves, leather soles with wooden heels. And I was able to convince myself that these were boys' shoes because they were what the cowboys would wear. But inside I knew it was because I could wear a high heel to school. And they made the loudest clacking sound as I walked down the hallways in my school. And sure enough, the other kids started to make fun of Raymond wearing high heels. And so for a while I stopped. And I left the boots at home, but I found that just because I stopped, the teasing didn't. Where are your high heels, Raymond? What happened? Did Barbie want her boots back? And so I realized that I was going to get teased and made fun of and beaten up whether or not I wore the shoes that I love. So I may as well take the pain and the hurt and at least get some joy out of my self-expression than take the hurt and have to remain in hiding. I'm going to do what makes me happy, and I don't care what other people say. My new motto became, I am unapologetically myself. The teachers told me it would just be easier if I left the boots at home, but I persisted. And every day, whether I was wearing jeans or shorts or overalls or a three-piece suit for picture day, I was wearing my cowboy boots. Unfortunately, the bullying and torment followed me out of elementary school and into middle school and high school. But wherever that bullying was, my motto was too. I am unapologetically myself. I'm grateful to have found my new motto and sense of purpose. And that motto has followed me not only through high school, but into college and into the professional world, through both tragedies and simchas. It saw me through my parents' divorce, 2 suicide attempts, many, many different failed therapists, but also through some of the greatest simchas, the acceptance into my dream school, my appointment on the board of one of the cantors unions, and now seeing me into my new pulpit. I want to put a pin in that story for just a second, but we'll come back. It has a very good ending, I promise. And I want to talk about why we're all here this morning. What is Pride Shabbat? Why is it important? What is its purpose? Pride Shabbat, contrary to popular belief, is not a celebration of LGBT Jews. Pride Shabbat is a benchmark for the kahal, for the Jewish people. I have a parade every day of the month as a queer person. It's not about me. Pride Shabbat is about all of you. It's an opportunity for us to look as a community. First, we look back and we celebrate the work that we've done. It's not to celebrate the community, but it's for us to celebrate the vital steps that we have taken in creating inclusive, safe spaces. We take this Shabbat to recognize our successes in the field of inclusion. But we also use this Shabbat as a benchmark to set our next set of goals. The work is far from over. I'm sure we're all familiar with the story of Choni the circle maker, who plants a carob tree for his grandchildren, knowing that he'll never live to see his fruits, but he plants it because that's what his grandparents did for him. That is what Rainbow Shabbat is. Pride Shabbat is a way for us to appreciate what we've done, but to continue to pave the way for future generations of inclusive Jews. We always say, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem. But I always hope to say next year without Pride Shabbat, because I hope to live in a world where Pride Shabbat isn't needed. Pride and acceptance are two sides of the same coin. They are the same and yet different, but neither one can exist without the other. If you have pride in something, obviously you accept it, but just because you accept something doesn't mean you're necessarily proud of it. When my family would always be asked, how you doing with Raymond's lifestyle? We would always mention my grandfather as sitting on the bandwagon, but just sitting in the back. Acceptance was something he was trying his best with, but pride was never in the cards. Pride is just another word for acceptance. They're interchangeable. So if I say we have self-pride, communal pride, or pride in our heritage, we think that we want to tell everyone about it. Wear our Magen Davids and our chais proudly. Acceptance is the internal version of pride. It's a very different thing to say that we have self-acceptance, communal acceptance, and acceptance of our heritage. Pride often only recognizes the positive, but acceptance recognizes both positive and negative, and the room for growth in between. When you begin the journey of acceptance and turning acceptance into pride, it will eventually turn a corner. And for me, it's a story of coming out. When you accept yourself as a queer person, you still have to come out to everybody. You have to come out to your family and come out to your friends. But once your acceptance turns that corner and becomes pride, that story of coming out turns into a story of letting others in. I tell my story today to help people better understand and to help communities turn that corner of acceptance to pride. But my story is no longer a story of coming out. It's a story of letting others in. And where did my story end, some of you may be asking? Well, with my pride and my new motto in tow, I found many different communities that would love and accept me. I'm now a cantorial soloist, a proud board member of the Guild of Temple Musicians, who's appeared on over 35 bimas across the country. I'm also an extremely proud member of the klezmer band Mostly Kosher, and I have the distinguished honor of being the first ever public drag performance on Walt Disney property. Rainbow Shabbat is something that is being launched as a nonprofit, hopefully before the High Holy Days, although, lawyers take their time. I am happy to say that this Shabbaton has not only helped to bridge the gap between the LGBT community who suffer religious trauma from large religious institutions, but also helping synagogue communities create warm, loving, and safe environments to welcome LGBT members. Whether I be performing in or out of drag, on or off the bima, I am happy to say that my story isn't ending anytime soon. I intend to continue to grow, to strengthen, and to be proud of who and what I am, and who and what we all are. That is just my beginning. This is my story, and that is my pride. I am still and will forevermore be unapologetically myself. Shabbat Shalom. I hope you'll all stick around for our Kiddush lunch, where I'm going to be presenting one of my Rainbow Shabbat workshops. We'll give you guys a little bit to get some nosh and get some nourishment, because, you know, ein kemach, ein Torah, I realize, but let's be honest, we're Jews and food is priority. So I look forward to learning more with you all. Thank you for having me. Good Shabbos.